The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. My name's Rob Deininger, and as always, I'm here with Jack Degraw, and we are talking Yankees baseball. How you doing, Jack?
Good. How are you, Robert? The Yankees are doing great, too.
Oh, they're doing fabulous. They just took two games from the Toronto Blue Jays, who were in second place when they faced them, and now Toronto's 6 games back and in third place.
Yeah, I mean, we were worried about Toronto for a while there, and Tampa Bay's always tough. They got no hit last night, but the Yankees are clicking on all cylinders. I mean, they're getting clutch hits. The pitching's been excellent, and they've really been playing some outstanding baseball.
Yeah, they got the best record in baseball. They're 22-8. They've won 8 out of their 10 8. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're 14-4 at home. And last week, remember we were talking, they were a game above 500 on the road. Now they're 8-4, so they're starting to improve on the road. I mean, if they can play just even a little better on the road as they do at home, they're going to be a tough team all season.
Yeah, the big thing is, they're beating up on the teams they should beat.
Yeah.
And when they were struggling the first half last year, they were having trouble against those teams. So, they're taking care of business so far. Long way to go.
Yeah. Though. Yeah, and I guess, Thursday they start a 4-game series with Chicago. And then Monday they start a 4-game series with Baltimore. Then they face 3 more with Chicago and then 3 more with Baltimore. So they got, 14 games against teams they should beat up on before they see a 4-game series with the Tampa Bay Rays. So, yeah, you're right. This is the time to beat up on the bad teams, and it's something that they've been doing this year so far.
Robert, the schedule, that's a really weird schedule.
It really is.
I mean, it just seems to me, the Yankees played Toronto last week, and then you got 4 with Chicago, 3 with Baltimore, and then you're repeating the same thing. I mean, I don't know what to say. That's a crazy schedule.
Yeah, they begin an 8-game homestand Thursday against Chicago. Like I said, they play 4 at them and then 4 at Baltimore. And then they begin a 6-game road trip where they play Chicago and Baltimore 3-3 before they come home for a 4-game series against Tampa. Yeah,
it's just weird. They opened up against Boston. They haven't even played the Rays yet.
No, and that 4-game series against the Rays, it starts May 29th, and then they see him again June 14th for 3 games at Tampa. And then they got 3 with Toronto, 3 with Tampa, Houston. So their schedule gets a little bit harder in the end of May and into June. But I'm just surprised they don't see Boston until July 7th. And they don't play on July 4th this year, the Yankees.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's a weird schedule, but they're taking care of business, and they're not striking out as much, and they hit good now in situations. They get a lot of big clutch hits when they have to, and it's really a good thing to see because we haven't seen that kind of baseball in a while.
Yeah, and our starting pitching. I think. Luis Severino is the only pitcher who has an ERA over 2, and I think it's 4.08. But otherwise, Nestor Cortez has an ERA of 1.41. Cole, who struggled to start the season, has an ERA of 2.67. Jordan Montgomery 2.90. James Taillon 2.93. So their starting pitching has been great. If we could just keep getting some innings out of them, it'd be even better.
Yeah, I mean, the starting pitch has been excellent. The only thing they have been doing is getting a lot of wins. But
yeah,
you know, it's kind of, you know, you watch Cortez, and I mean, I think he's only got one win. And I mean, that guy, he's just a lot of fun to watch. That's an old time.
He is.
You know, he changes his arm angle, and I think he developed, I don't know, a change or a slider, but he's really, you know, in previous years, he was just like a fill-in coming in. And then I think since last year, at maybe the All-Star break, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Oh, yeah. And in 32 innings this year, he's only given up 20 hits, but he struck out 42 in 32 innings. And opponents are only batting 177 against him in 6 starts. He really has, since, like you said, since last year, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball.
And it seems like, you know, even his fastball. I mean, I don't remember his fastball, you know, being high 80s, maybe 90. Now he hits 92.
Yeah.
So he's even increased his velocity, and he's just, you know, a fun pitcher to watch. You know, it's an old time baseball pitcher. You know, don't overpower hitters, but just you know, gets by on his arm angle and uses his head out there.
Yeah, he fools them, and like you said, he's got a number of different arm angles, and he also has like this stutter. It's not a stutter step, but it's like a stutter release. Like it's like he stops and then continues, and I think it throws hitters off completely. It's not a balk by any means. He's going towards home plate, but he slows down, and then all of a sudden he throws a fastball by you, and it must look faster than it is.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, another thing is impressive that, you know, he just goes after the hitters.
Yeah.
You know, he's just very aggressive. He attacks hitters, and, you know, if I get beat, I get beat, but I'm going to pitch my game, and, you know, if the batter does better, well, then he's won the battle. But, you know, he's aggressive, and he goes after hitters, and, you know, that's what you want to see in a pitcher. Just, you know, battle your ass off and do what you have to do to win. If you get beat, you get beat.
Yeah, and like I said, hitters are batting under 200 against him. Hitters are only batting 205 against Gerrit Cole. Jordan Montgomery, hitters are only batting 212. Severino, hitters are batting 259, and against Talion, hitters are batting 273. But they're all pitching great. Yeah,
I mean, the bullpen has been outstanding. You know, Michael King had a little hiccup on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Chapman gave up his first run of the day, but he's got 8 saves, and his earned run average is 0.79. So.
Yeah, and he's, like you said, he's 8 for 8 in save opportunities.
And Michael, you know.
And Michael King has an ERA of 1.35. He had that little hiccup, but he's still been brilliant this year.
Yeah, he gave up the home run on Sunday, but, you know, they can't be perfect. He almost got out of the jam, but, you know, last year I was thinking, Robert, you know, in the second half of the season last year, they were like 50, 51 and 30. So if you figure it out, they're like 73 and 38 over their last like 111 games.
Yeah.
They've been outstanding.
And Clay Holmes is a guy who, you know, people don't, you know, he's not a well-known name, but he's 4-0, and he's got an ERA of 0.55. I mean, he's another one who has, you know, 2 saves and 2 opportunities, and he's got 16 strikeouts, and hitters are only batting 175 against him. He's having a great season so far out of the bullpen.
Well, you know, that's one of the things, you know, the Yankees has been doing. They seem to get guys that nobody else wants, and you know, they got him in a trade last year from the Pirates when he was struggling, and you know, he's really been an outstanding pickup, and you know, they seem to have been doing that a lot. So, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due, and that's another good pickup, getting Holmes.
Yeah, And Chad Greene, I haven't seen much of him this year, but I'm looking at his stats, and he's got an ERA of around 4. Do you know if he's having a up and down season, or is he just kind of struggling a little bit?
He's
Jonathan Loaiza too.
Yeah, he's just been struggling a little bit. I think the plan with him is they're not going to overuse him like they've done in previous years.
Yeah, they used to use him all the time.
Yeah, he seems to come in every game. And Loaiza's been, up and down a little bit, but for the most part, he's been good. There's another guy who doesn't have a lot of innings in the major leagues, so you got to be careful. You don't want to overwork these guys because it's a long season.
Yeah. And I'm looking at Anthony Rizzo, even though he's only batting .234. 9 home runs, 22 RBIs. He's got 25 hits, 5 doubles, 17 runs scored. He's on base is .354, so he's getting on base. He plays great defense. Anthony Rizzo's, I think going to have a great year. And Stanton's just starting to get going now. He's got 7 home runs and 22 RBIs, tied for the team lead.
Well, the thing I like about Rizzo and Torres and most of the guys this year, they come up with like a lot of clutch hits.
Yeah.
In situations the Yankees used to be weak. They get a guy on second or third, one out, and they couldn't score him. But this year they're doing the things. They're hitting a fly ball, or they got a man on third with one out, and the infield's back. They hit a ground ball. So they've been doing those things that's been helping them win games.
Yeah.
And they're not striking out as much, which is they're putting the ball in play, which is a big improvement.
Yeah, and given that we got 14 games against the White Sox and the Orioles, if we can just even go, 10-4, that'd be great.
Yeah, they're really they're building a big cushion between them and the other teams, but it's a long season to go. They haven't played 20% of the games yet, but they're off to a fan start.
Yeah, their run differential, they're plus 52, and the rest of the teams in their division are minus. The Rays are -5, the Blue Jays are -13, Baltimore is -14, and the Red Sox are -8. So the Yankees they're finally outscoring their opponents this season.
Well, like we keep saying, they're winning the games they have to do, and they're still hitting the home runs and they're still striking out. But I just like the lineup. They don't seem to have a set lineup. And if a guy's struggling, they'll sit him down, and they try Hicks as a leadoff, they try LeMahieu as a leadoff, and I think they had Rizzo up there for a game or so. So they're doing different things with the lineup, and like we talked off air, the catchers haven't hit yet, but you have heard very little about them because they've been playing, they've been doing great defense, and that's what they got them for. But at some point, we have to get some hitting from the catchers. Yeah,
and like Hicks, he's batting only .230, but he does have an on-base percentage of .383, but he's not knocking any runs, but he does have 17 runs scored. And they had him in left field the other day, and he made such a lousy throw to home plate to allow a runner to score. I just wonder, how much longer are they going to continue to have Hicks as their center fielder? He puts together a lot of walks during the regular season, but he can't hit, and his arms average at best in the outfield.
Well, the surgery he had on his arm. He had a bazooka out there.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And now it looks like he's afraid, to air it out. But if there's one good thing is everybody's playing a part.
Yeah.
So even if a guy struggles a little bit, it doesn't show up as much as it did, say, the beginning of last season, because everybody was struggling.
Yeah.
But, I look at guys like Hicks and Gallo. If they just, play good, good baseball, hit 250. Like Gallo hit some home runs, knocking runs. Hicks is stealing some bases. If they just play a part, you can get by. But if everybody starts struggling again, then the shortcomings show up more.
Yeah, that's true. And have you heard anything new on Davy Garcia and how his season's progressing in AAA? I
haven't really heard anything. I just know the Yankees were, they were going to bring up somebody, in one of the next few games from the minor leagues to pitch. Now, I really don't know how, Garcia is doing because I haven't been following the minor leagues too much.
They're bringing up Lewis Gill to pitch tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I was listening to the game the other day, and they mentioned, they were going to bring up somebody from AAA. Well, we know about Gill. He's got the electric arm. So,
yeah.
There's some talent down there from what I understand.
Yeah, they got a lot of good pitching down there, right? I mean, even though they traded away some guys in the offseason, they didn't give away any of their top guys. No, and sometimes they're going to have to bring these guys up because, the pitchers don't go deep like they anymore in games, and you can't, your bullpen can't pitch 3-4 innings every game. It's going to wear them out. Yeah. I'm trying to pull up the box score for today, and my computer's giving me. I heard something the other day was kind of interesting. Connor Falefa, the shortstop, actually played like 73 games in the major league as a catcher. Really? Yeah, with Texas, he come up as a catcher. So I didn't even realize that. So there's another option, as an emergency. Yeah. I tell you, Higgy, he hit 7 home runs during spring training, and you thought, all right, and then the regular season. But it's been that way for a while now. He has a great spring training, and then he struggles during the regular season. Well, I mean, in the spring, a lot of times, he hits these home runs against minor league guys. Yeah. And, the thing is, he's a major league player. He's a better hitter than they are pitchers. That's why he's in the major leagues. But when he gets to the major leagues against, the better pitching, he struggles a little. I mean, I still think he'll reach double figures in homers, but, he's in there for his glove, and that's what Trevino's in there. But they got to get some production out of these guys eventually. Yeah. It's a lot better than watching, Sanchez and, watching pass balls and, him walking after the ball. So, I mean, it's just, it's a lot better team to watch. It's a lot more fun. It's strikeouts all the time, and they get clutch hits, and it's just a lot more fun to watch them. It is, and like I was talking off the air, Gary Sanchez is only batting 143 on the year. Voit, he's another one who's struggling bad. Voigt's only batting 143 with no homers and 5 RBIs with only 42 at bats. So I'm wondering if maybe he's hurt. But Gary Sanchez is batting. Yeah, Sanchez is batting 211 with only 1 home run and 9 RBI and 71 at bats. And Clint Frazier is batting 143 with no homers, no RBIs, and 21 at bats. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, he's having problems with his vision. I could be wrong, but I know there's something that was bothering him, and that they had to put him on the IL. Yeah, I mean, I looked at Frazier's stats a couple weeks ago, and, he hasn't played in a few weeks because he had 21 at-bats then. Voit has just come off the disabled list. Okay. He's pulling muscles left and right because, he's got a lot of muscles to pull. And Sanchez, he played some good ball for the Yankees, but, they did the right thing getting rid of those guys. They just Yeah, they really did.
It was going nowhere. And I think Gio's playing well for the Twins.
Oh yeah, I forgot to look up his stats. He's a great third baseman, but his hitting, the last couple of years the Yankees started to take a dive a little bit. I'd be interesting to see if he has a bounce back year playing with Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean he was a good player for the Yankees. So was Voit, but it's you have to. In New York, you have to see some new faces because we were getting tired of seeing the same old players and the same old results, and so it's a lot. Let's see what these guys can do. Come October.
Yeah, I pulled up the box score for today. They had Hicks leading off. He went 0 for 4. Judge is batting second, went 1 for 4. Rizzo went 1 for 3 with a pair of runs scored. LeMahieu went 2 for 4 with a pair of runs scored. Gleyber went 2 for 4 with 5 RBIs. Gallo went 1 for 4. Kiner Falefa went 0 for 3. Gonzalez 1 for 3, but LeMahieu hit his 7th double, Torres his 5th homer, and drove in 5 runs, which gave him 18 on the year. And Talion went 5 1/3, only gave up 2 runs on 6 hits and struck out 4. Michael King pitched looks like a scoreless inning. Holmes pitched an inning at 2/3, a scoreless ball, and Chapman came in and he gave up a run, but he got the save.
Yeah, Chapman's really pitched well, this year. He hasn't had like his, the control issues as of yet. He had it once down in Baltimore. He come in, he got 2 strikes on a hitter, and then walked in the winning run. And I remember one game he struggled. He walked the bases loaded, and Boone took him out.
Yeah,
so,
I remember that.
Yeah, I think with Chapman, he's going to have a shorter leash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when he can't get the ball over the plate, he gets nowhere near the plate, and his mechanics are all off. So I think, if he starts walking a batter or two, you're going to see him getting pulled every once in a while.
It's interesting because this is the last year on Chapman's contract, and I don't know if I can see the Yankees bringing him back unless it's on a really cheap deal. But I think you think they might be ready to move on for Chapman? I mean, because it might cost some money to bring him back.
Yeah, well, I think, everything depends how the rest of the season goes. I mean, the one thing the other night, his velocity was up to 99. And pretty much for the most part this season was like 94 or 95. Yeah. He's still a very good reliever. But I don't think he's like an elite guy anymore. He could be, but he's going to have to start making some adjustments. And with the Yankees having so many good relievers.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a guy like King taking over the closer role, and if Weiser turns it around, I could see him. They could do a closer by committee or something like that. Yeah,
and they got Louis Gill down in the minors. He throws 101 miles an hour. So, the way it is anymore, you can always get some power arms. Yeah. So, it all depends how the season plays out. I mean, if they have an early exit in the playoffs and Chapman doesn't perform, there's a good possibility, they're not going to sign to a long-range deal because, they're going to have to sign Judge soon. Yeah. And they got other things to do, so.
And I know Zach Britton's still under contract for this year. Is this his last year on his contract? Do you know?
I'm not really sure about that. He might have another year, but I don't even think we're going to see him this year.
Yeah.
If he comes back later in the year, he'll just be in the minor league. Maybe we'll see him in September.
Yeah, because I don't know if he'll be ready. I mean, he hurt himself towards the end of last year, right?
Yeah. And another thing, Robert, you asked me about Domingo Germán, and when he got hurt in mid-March, like around the time they were starting spring training, They were saying it was a day-to-day thing, a week thing. And, I mean, I looked, and I haven't seen anything on him.
Yeah,
like
I heard one of the things, like what organizations will do is the Yankees needed to create a 40-man roster spot. And by putting Herman on the IL, it opened up a roster spot for a player they wanted. So I wonder if that's what happened. They needed the roster spot, and they put Herman on the IL, saying he had a shoulder injury. I forget the player that they added to the roster.
Well, I mean, that's a possibility because, I mean, I haven't found anything about him.
Yeah.
Usually they have an update on a player, how he's doing or something. And with Herman, you haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I haven't heard a peep on him. Yeah. And tomorrow, like I said, we got Gilg starting against the White Sox, followed by Cole, then Montgomery, and then Cortez to finish the series out against Chicago. And then Severino will start against Baltimore, followed by Talion, Cole, and then Montgomery again. So those are your 8 pitchers for the next 8 games.
And another thing, Robert, I'll give you a little update. Anthony Volpe and IA, he had 101 at bats and he had maybe 21 hits, but he had 5 homers, 16 RBIs.
You there, Jack? Well, it looks like we lost Jack, but we got the Yankees, who are 22-8 with the best record in baseball. They got a 4.5 game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays, who they'll face May 29th in a 4-game series. They got a 6-game lead over Toronto, a 9-game lead over Baltimore, and an 11-game lead over Boston. And like I said, they play 7 games with Baltimore in the next 14 games. And if they can beat up on them, that will just help. Same with the 7 games against the White Sox. If they can just go 10-4, they can improve their record to 32-12, and they could run away with this division, especially if Boston keeps playing as bad as they are. Baltimore's not going to be there at the end. This could be a 3-team race between the Yankees, Rays, and Blue Jays, and I just don't think Toronto has figured out how to win yet. So, I mean, it might come down to New York and Tampa, who's going to fight for the division title. The only thing with the Yankees is, can their pitching stay healthy? And can the guys who are hitting out continue to hit? The only thing I don't like is the bottom of their lineup. I mean, Hicks is a .230 hitter. I can care less that he gets walks during the regular season against below-average pitching, because come postseason, you're not going to face lousy pitching. You're going to face aces, probably 2, and the best team's 3. So he's going to have to be able to hit, and he can't. Joey Gallo's a 183 hitter. He's not a major league hitter. Every now and then he gets lucky when a meatball's been thrown over the plate and he hits a home run. Gallo is not a major league hitter. He plays good defense, but again, in the postseason, do you want him in the lineup? I mean, so the Yankees got problems in the bottom of their lineup, and I think they really should address it during the trading deadline, but we'll see. Well, to everyone listening, hopefully we'll have Jack back next time. And until next week, let's hope the Yankees keep on rolling. Goodbye, everybody.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.